When I finally opened my eyes in the hospital bed, the memories of my wife cheating on me and the crash her lover had orchestrated came rushing back, along with a burning resolve to make them pay for what they had done. Be me, 29 years old, wake up with metallic taste in mouth, harsh fluorescent lights burning through eyelids, head pounding like crazy, can't remember where I am or how I got here. Smell of antiseptic fills my nostrils. Distant beeping of machines makes it clear. I'm in a hospital. Last thing I remember was driving home late from work. Was completely exhausted, but excited to surprise Charlotte. Had picked up her favorite risotto from that fancy French bistro downtown. Even bought orchids, her favorite flowers. Spontaneous gesture we hadn't done in years. Wanted to remind her of us, the version of us that didn't feel so heavy. Never made it home, though. My body feels like it's made of concrete. Nurse standing at bedside, her expression too carefully neutral to be comforting. Before I can speak, she leans in. "You're in the ICU," she says softly. "You were in an accident?" The words swirl in my foggy brain. Flashes of memory hit me. Pair of headlights swerving into my lane. Violent impact. Then nothing. Nurse asks routine questions. My name, Adam Wilson. My birthday. Answer in a daze. Trying to make sense of everything. Then she says something that makes my blood freeze. "Your wife has been here. She stepped out with another gentleman. They should be back soon." Another gentleman? Nurse must notice my confusion. Quickly adds that she thinks he's a close friend. Said he helped bring me in after the accident. Helped bring me in? My chest tightens. Not from physical pain. Something worse. Something that feels like betrayal. I don't know anyone who would call themselves a close friend of Charlotte's. At least not close enough to be here. Standing by her side while I lay broken in hospital bed, door opens. There she is, Charlotte. Looking perfect as always in designer dress and stilettos. Heels clicking sharply against hospital floor. Her face lights up seeing me awake. But relief in her eyes feels forced. Behind her trails a man I don't recognize. He's tall, broad-shouldered, has kind of presence that demands attention. His navy suit jacket unbuttoned at collar. His smile just a little too casual for situation. "Oh my God, you're awake!" Charlotte exclaims. Rushes to my side, grabs my hand. Her grip feels firm but unfamiliar, like she's trying too hard to show emotion. "I was so worried." Before I can respond, she gestures to man behind her. "This is Thomas," she says. Voice touched too bright. He saw the accident. Helped get you to the hospital." Thomas steps forward, offers a nod and tight smile. "Glad to see you're okay, man." It was bad out there. I stare at him. Brain working overtime to fit pieces together. "You saw the accident?" I ask. Voice hoarse. Throat feels like sandpaper. "Yeah," Thomas says smoothly. Shoves hands into expensive suit pockets. Right place, right time. Lucky I was there. Something about way he says it makes my skin crawl. No warmth in his voice. No genuine concern. And Charlotte's body language, standing just a little too close to him. Her arm brushing his as she fidgets nervously. All wrong. My instincts screaming that there's more to story. But I'm too weak to push yet. "Thank you," I mutter. Eyes narrowing as study his face. He doesn't look like someone who just stumbled upon random accident. He looks invested. Charlotte quickly jumps in. Her voice a little too loud. "Thomas was amazing. He stayed with you until ambulance arrived. Even followed us here. You should really thank him." I don't reply. Too busy watching how her hand lingers on his arm. Just a second too long. Something inside me cracks. A fissure spreading through fragile foundation of trust. One had spent years building with her. I have no proof, not yet. But my gut tells me this isn't first time Thomas has been in my wife's life. And it sure as hell isn't by chance. My pulse quickens. Not just from pain and chest. Need answers and need them fast. This accident feels less like random misfortune. More like opening act of something much darker. Thomas doesn't linger long. Makes excuse about checking in at work. Leaves with pat on Charlotte's shoulder. Makes my blood boil. Watch her closely as he disappears through door. Her eyes following him. For just fraction of second too long. She turns back to me. Face slipping into expression I can only describe as rehearsed concern. "How are you feeling, babe?" she asks. Smoothing imaginary wrinkles on hospital blanket. Ignore the question. "How do you know him?" I ask. Voice steady despite storm building inside me. Charlotte's eyes widen just slightly. "Who, Thomas?" "I told you he was at accident." Lets out nervous laugh. "He practically saved your life." What's with interrogation? "Saved my life, huh?" I press. Keep gaze locked on hers. "So he was just what passing by?" Her reaction instantaneous. Flash of defensiveness crosses face. "Yes, what are you trying to say, Adam? That I somehow planned for you to end up in ICU?" God, do you even hear yourself right now? She folds arms, lips tightening into thin line. Classic Charlotte whenever she feels cornered. Her go-to move is to flip script. Make me feel like unreasonable one. Don't take bait this time. I didn't say that, I reply calmly. Though fists clench beneath sheets. But it's funny, isn't it? How Thomas knew to bring you here. Did he have your number? Did he know your name? For a split second, her mask slips. Face falters just enough. To reveal something. Fear? Guilt? Maybe both. The paramedics must have told him, she says quickly. Too quickly. Why are you being so weird about this? The man did good thing and you're acting like... Acting like what? I cut her off. My voice rising. Like something doesn't add up. Because it doesn't, Charlotte. None of this makes sense. Her nostrils flare. Throws hands in air. You know what? Fine. Believe whatever insane conspiracy theory you want. I'm trying to take care of you. And this is thanks I get. She storms out of room. Heels echoing sharply down corridor. Watch her go. Chest heaving. Not from physical exertion, but from realization that she isn't just lying. She's hiding something. And she's bad at it. Alone in sterile silence of ICU. Turn over facts in my mind. Thomas's presence wasn't coincidence. Way Charlotte defended him. Way she avoided my questions. It all screamed wrong. And then there was accident itself. It had been so sudden, so violent. But as replay it in my head, chilling thought creeps in. What if it wasn't accident at all? Shake my head trying to dismiss idea. Too far-fetched. Too ridiculous. But seed has been planted. No matter how hard try, can't shake it loose. Nurse comes in hour later to check my vitals. She's kind, chatty even, but not in mood for small talk. Keep my responses curt. Until she mentions something. Makes my stomach drop. Your wife and her friend were very attentive, she says casually. Adjusting IV line. He was one who insisted on staying with you in ambulance. Said he didn't want her to be alone. Words hit me like freight train. In ambulance. Thomas had ridden with me. That meant he'd been there before Charlotte. Hadn't just helped bring me to hospital. He'd been at scene. Involved from start. But how and why? Wait until nurse leaves. Before grabbing phone from bedside table. Hands trembling as unlock it. Scroll through messages and call logs. Looking for any clue to connect dots. That's when see it. Unsent draft of text. Something must have started typing before accident. But hadn't sent. I saw your texts. Who the hell is he? Message addressed to Charlotte. Blood runs cold. Don't remember writing it. But there it is. Staring back at me like ghost. Whatever had discovered before crash. Was enough to make me confront her. Enough to make her lie to my face now. With my memory hazy. And body battered. I'm at disadvantage. But one thing clear. This isn't just about infidelity. This is bigger. Darker. Not sure yet how deep betrayal runs. But swear to myself, I'll find out. No matter what it takes. Hours crawl by in ICU. Each second thick with weight of unanswered questions. Charlotte doesn't come back. Nurse mutters something about her stepping out for some air. But no better. She's not type to let little fresh air clear her head. Charlotte avoids situations when lies stack too high. Hospital room feels suffocating. But my mind's sharper now. Clearer than been since waking up. That unsent text haunts me. Who the hell is he? Had known about Thomas before accident. But how? What had I seen? My brain is maze. Exit buried in memory of that night. Close eyes and force myself to go back. Step by step. The orchids, the risotto, the drive home. It had been late. Around 10:30 p.m. My office had been chaos. Left later than usual. As replay scene. Fragment of something sharp and vivid. Breaks through fog. Charlotte's car. It had been parked outside place it didn't belong. The Riverside Hotel. Realization hits like another collision. Hadn't forgotten detail. My brain had buried it under trauma. Had driven past hotel. And there it was. Her unmistakable silver Audi in parking lot. At first told myself it was coincidence. Maybe work meeting. Maybe she was meeting Olivia. But something about hotel. A business class place where no one went for dinner. Set my nerves on edge. Remember pulling into lot. Heart pounding. Trying to talk myself down. As climbed out of car. But then saw them. Charlotte in her signature cream-colored coat. Walking towards side exit. With man. Not just any man. Thomas. He had his hand on small of her back. Guiding her like she belonged to him. They were close. Too close. She laughed at something he said. Kind of laugh she hadn't shared with me in months. That's when it clicked. Started typing text. I saw your texts. Who the hell is he? But then dropped phone and rushed to follow them. Couldn't let them leave. Not without answers. Next part is blurry. Remember adrenaline. Rush of blood in ears has followed their car. They didn't take main roads. Weaved through side streets. Like they knew someone might be watching. It wasn't just an affair. Something calculated about way they moved. Like hiding more than fling. And then the crash. My heart sinks. Headlights from another car. Thomas's black Range Rover. Veering into my lane. It was an accident. He'd seen me following them. Hadn't he? He knew I was close. That I was piecing it together. The bastard had run me off-road. Feel wave of nausea and rage. Makes room spin. Had almost died because of them. Because of her. And now she had audacity to sit by my bed and lie to my face about who Thomas was, about why he was even there. Have to move carefully. Still in hospital. Still weak. They think I'm clueless, that I don't remember, but now have pieces of truth, enough to start playing game on my terms. Before can think of next step. Phone buzzes on table beside me. Message from Charlotte. Sorry for storming out earlier. Thomas says he'll be back to check on you. He's been such help through all of this. I'm grabbing coffee and we'll be back soon. The gall of her. Thomas says he'll be back. What the hell did Thomas have to do with anything? Why was he hovering over my wife? Making decisions about my recovery? My teeth clench. Fingers grip phone so tight. Knuckles turn white. Want to call her. Scream at her. Demand answers. But stop myself. That's what she expects? What they both expect? Charlotte and Thomas think they have upper hand. Think they can control narrative. While I lay here helpless. Need to be smarter. Need to wait. Let them hang themselves with their lies. Nurse comes in again. Asks if need anything. Seize opportunity. Do you have my discharge papers yet? I ask. Try to keep tone neutral. She frowns. Looking at chart. You're stable. But doctor wanted to monitor you another night. Are you in hurry to leave? Just need to get home, I say quickly. I'll rest better there? She hesitates, but promises to check with attending physician. As she leaves room, stare at my phone, mind spinning with plans. If Charlotte thinks she can manipulate me, if Thomas thinks he can bury me under his smooth lies, they're about to learn how wrong they are. Not just going to survive this, going to end whatever they're hiding. Once and for all, Charlotte returns before nurse has time. To come back with update, she walks in holding vanilla latte, wearing expression of forced calm. Daughter clicks shut behind her. For a moment, all I can hear is faint hum of machines. Keeping track of my fragile state, she sits in chair by my bed, eyes scanning me carefully, like she's searching for signs of what I might remember. Silence stretches uncomfortably, until decide to break it. You've been out while, I say. Voice low but steady. Where'd you go? She perks up, clearly relieved at mundane question. Oh, just needed some air and caffeine. Holds up coffee cup like it's proof of alibi. I nod, letting quiet settle between us again. Not going to let her steer conversation. She'd slipped once in parking lot of Riverside Hotel. She'd slip again. Just need to wait. So, Thomas? I say casually. Watching her reaction, her grip on coffee cup tightens slightly. Funny how he's been so involved in this. Do you two work together or something? Charlotte laughs. But it comes out too sharp. Too fast. No, of course not. I told you he was just there when accident happened. Honestly, you should be thanking him. If he hadn't been there, who knows what could have happened? Right, I say, nodding slowly. But isn't it strange? I mean, he's not paramedic or cop. Yet he's always around. Her eyes narrow. She shifts uncomfortably. What are you trying to say, Adam? I shrug. Just that it seems like you know him pretty well. For a guy who was just passing by, he sure seems close to you. Her face hardens. For a moment thinks she might snap. Instead, she leans back in chair, crossing legs like trying to regain control. I don't know what you're insinuating, she says evenly. But you've been through trauma. Maybe you're overthinking things. Maybe, I smile. But it doesn't reach my eyes. Or maybe I'm remembering things. Her composure falters just for a second. Remembering? She echoes. Voice slightly strained. Yeah, I say. Watching her intently, like the hotel, the Riverside, you know, the one where your car was parked. Night of accident. Her face drains of color, opens mouth to respond. But no words come out. She's caught and we both know it. You want to explain that? I ask. My tone cold now. Or should I just keep guessing? Charlotte blinks rapidly, scrambling for answer. I was meeting Olivia, she stammers. We had drinks after work. It's not what you think. Oh, Olivia? I tilt heady. Funny because I saw you walking out with Thomas. Her mouth snaps shut. The lie had been so quick, so instinctive. But now it hangs in air between us, like noose tightening around her neck. I lean forward, pain in chest flaring, as force myself upright. Do you want to try again, Char? Or are you going to tell me truth for once? Her eyes dart to door, like weighing chances of escape. When realizes there's no easy way out, she lets out exasperated sigh. Okay, fine, she says. Yes, I met Thomas there. But it wasn't what you think. Oh, really? I say, voice rising. Because what I think is that you've been sneaking around behind my back. I think you've been lying to me for months. She jumps to feet, her coffee forgotten on side table. It's not like that, Adam. He's a colleague. We were meeting to discuss project. I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd overreact. And guess what? I was right. A project? I bark out laugh. Sound bitter and hollow. At hotel, at night? Do you even hear yourself? Charlotte's face twists with anger. Oh, give me break? You've always been paranoid. Always looking for something to blame me for. Maybe if you weren't so busy working late and ignoring me, I wouldn't have to. She stops herself, her words hanging in air, like loaded gun. Wouldn't have to what, Charlotte? I demand. My voice dangerous edge. She clamps mouth shut, eyes blazing with defiance. But it's too late. Her slip already gave me all confirmation needed. Yeah, I say. Voice dropping to deadly calm. That's what I thought. She doesn't respond. Instead, grabs her designer bag, storms toward door. I'm not doing this with you right now, she snaps. You need rest. Not another one of your paranoid meltdowns? Door slams behind her. I'm left alone again, heart pounding with mix of fury and vindication. She thought she could walk away, that she could spin this story into something I'd swallow, like I always had. But this time was different. She had underestimated me. Moment door slams behind Charlotte. Silence in room feels deafening. My body buzzing, not just from confrontation, but from confirmation. Finally pulling at right threads, she'd cracked. Hadn't denied it outright, she had deflected. Turned blame on me, like snake-cornered and desperate to strike. But that slip, that single moment of anger, where her words almost spilled out, was all I needed. Something deeper than infidelity brewing here, and I'm going to dig it out. Reach for phone, fingers trembling. Not from weakness, but from adrenaline. Don't know exactly where to start, but instinct tells me go back to root of it all. Thomas. Who was he really? What was his connection to Charlotte? Hospital's Wi-Fi is slow, but doesn't matter. Quick search brings up dozens of LinkedIn profiles. Vague references to Thomas Kane. None stand out. But then remember nurse's comment earlier. Thomas had stayed in ambulance with me. He'd been listed on incident report. Call hospital's reception desk. Try to keep voice steady, despite rage simmering under skin. Hi, this is Adam Wilson, I say. Guy in room 412. Was an accident recently. Need to confirm some details for insurance. Can you connect me to whoever handles patient transport records? Receptionist hesitates, but finally transfers me to administration. Repeat story. Careful to sound calm and professional, as if this isn't about unraveling truth, but simply checking box after few minutes of waiting. Voice on other end returns. We have report here. Your emergency contact Charlotte Wilson was notified at scene, and man who stayed with you during transport. Was Thomas Kane? My grip tightens on phone. Does it say how he came to be at scene? Looks like he told paramedics he was witness. First on scene, actually. First on scene, words send chill down spine. Thomas hadn't just happened upon crash. He'd been there immediately. Like he'd been following me, or worse, like he'd known it was going to happen. Thanks, I say. Force tight smile into voice. Before hanging up, lean back into stiff hospital bed. Mind racing. Idea too absurd. Too sinister to fully believe, but can't shake it. What if crash was an accident? What if Thomas had been there? To make sure I didn't follow them further? Or worse, to silence me completely? My phone buzzes in hand. Breaking train of thought. Message from Charlotte. Sorry about earlier. Let's talk when you're feeling better. Don't stress yourself out. Love you. The audacity almost makes me laugh. She thinks she can patch this up? With few empty words and little time. Does she think I'd forget? Way her voice cracked when tried to explain hotel. Venom in her tone when blamed me? No, this isn't something I'd let go. Decide to take risk instead of responding. Open my contacts. Scroll to name haven't thought about in years. Lucas. Lucas had been my best friend in college. Guy who taught me to stand up for myself. How to think 2 steps ahead. We drifted apart over years. He moved to Vancouver for work. I stayed here to build life with Charlotte. But Lucas had one quality, need now more than ever. He had uncanny knack for sniffing out lies, finding truth buried under layers of deception. Hit call and pray he'll pick up. Adam? His voice groggy. Like I'd woken him up. Lucas, it's been a while. Yeah, no kidding. You all right? You sound off? I need your help, I say. Words tumbling out in rush. I think something's going on with Charlotte. Something big? Don't have all pieces yet. But I don't think my car accident was accident. Long pause on other end. Jesus, Lucas finally says. Okay, slow down. What hell's going on? Give him short version. The hotel, Thomas, the crash, way Charlotte's been acting. He listens without interrupting, his breathing steady on other end. All right, he says when I finish. You're not crazy, Adam. If even half what you're saying is true, something's definitely going on. You need to get out of that hospital. Get ahead of this before they pull anything else. Already asked about discharge papers, I say. I'll be out tomorrow at latest. Good. Until then, lay low. Don't let her know you're onto her. And hey, send me everything you've got on this Thomas guy. I'll see what I can dig up. Hang up, feeling flicker of hope. For first time in days, Lucas is relentless when it comes to digging up dirt. If there's something to find, he'll find it. Daughter opens. Charlotte walks back in, stilettos clicking softly against tile. Face composed. Picture of calm and concern, but see through it now. Hey, she says. Voice sugary sweet. Feeling any better? Forced smile. Much better, thanks. She sits by bed again, eyes scanning me. Can almost see gears turning in her head. She thinks I'm pacified, clueless, but I'm not her pawn anymore. I'm one watching now, waiting for her next move. And I'm not going to miss thing. Stay quiet as Charlotte settles back into chair. Next to my hospital bed, she crosses legs, pulls out phone, scrolling through screen like nothing happened. Her composure almost admirable. Almost. Room feels suffocating with her in it. Walls seeming to close in. Focus on steady beep of heart monitor. Using it as metronome to keep myself calm. Need to play this smart. Can't let her know what I've uncovered. Not yet. You seem distracted, I say after long silence. Voice casual, deliberately light, but her head snaps up, like I'd struck nerve. Distracted? No. Just catching up on emails, she says, forcing small smile. Why? Just wondering, I say. Leaning back against pillows. You've been on edge lately. You stormed out earlier. Is there something you're not telling me? Her smile falters, for just fraction of second, before she recovers. Oh my God, Adam. Are we seriously doing this again? I told you Thomas and I have project. Cut in. Tone sharper now. Yeah, I remember. Convenient, though. That project just happened to take you to hotel. And that you just happened to be meeting him? Night I ended up in ditch. Her jaw tightens. See her shoulders stiffen. I don't like what you're implying. Neither do I say, staring her down. So how about you stop dodging my questions? And start giving me some real answers. Charlotte sets phone down, fingers gripping armrests of chair. You're being paranoid, she snaps. Do you have any idea what it's been like for me? These past few days? I've been worried sick about you. And instead of being grateful, you're throwing around accusations like, I saw your emails, I interrupt. Voice cold as ice. Blood drains from her face. She freezes, mouth opening and closing like fish gasping for air. For once, she doesn't have quick retort or deflection ready. What emails? She stammers. Voice barely above whisper. The ones between you and Thomas, I say. Leaning forward, pain lances through ribs, but don't care. Not going to let her squirm out of this? You know, the ones where you talk about me being clueless and making sure I'm distracted. Her hands fly to mouth, but reaction isn't one of guilt, it's anger. You went through my private emails? Are you serious, Adam? That's violation of trust. Laugh bitterly. Sound raw and harsh? A violation of trust? That's rich coming from you. She shoots up from chair, face flushed with fury. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're making this into something it's not. Am I? I snap. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you and Thomas have been planning something behind my back. For weeks, months maybe. So why don't you go ahead and explain that forged power of attorney document? While you're at it, Charlotte's eyes widen in panic. For a moment thought she might bolt, but then something in her shifts. Fear in her face melts away, replaced by cold defiance. You think you've got it all figured out? Don't you? She says, voice dripping with venom. You're so good at playing victim, Adam. Poor clueless Adam. Always working late, always too busy to notice. When his marriage is falling apart, don't try to turn this around on me, I growl. This isn't about my work hours or our marriage. This is about you lying to me, manipulating me, working with Thomas to protect myself, she snaps, cutting me off. Her words hang in air like gunshot. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Protect yourself, I repeat. Voice barely above whisper. From what? From me? Charlotte's jaw clenches. See her hands trembling at sides. She doesn't answer, but look in her eyes says everything. Feel like floor dropped out from under me. What the hell are you talking about, Charlotte? She turns away, shoulders stiff. You wouldn't understand, she says quietly. You never do. Try me, I say. Voice hard. She hesitates. Back still to me. When finally speaks, voice cold and detached. Thomas and I, we've been working together on something important. Something you don't need to know about. Don't need to know about? I repeat. Voice rising. Are you hearing yourself right now? You're my wife, Charlotte. Or at least you're supposed to be. She spins around, eyes blazing. You want truth, Adam? Fine. I didn't want to be stuck in this life anymore. Didn't want to spend next 20 years being your sidekick while you work yourself into early grave. So yeah, Thomas and I made plans. We had to. You weren't listening to me. You never listened. Words hit me like punch to gut. So what, I say. You decided to get rid of me? Take my money? My life? Her lips curl into bitter smile. You're so dramatic. No one was trying to get rid of you. We needed you out of way. Temporarily? Room spins as her words sink in. Out of way temporarily. My car crash hadn't been accident. Thomas and Charlotte had orchestrated it. You tried to kill me, I say. Words hollow and disbelieving. Charlotte's face twists into something cruel. Something barely recognized. If we'd wanted you dead, Adam, you'd be dead? Stare at her. Woman I'd loved for years. Feel nothing but cold, raw hatred. Whatever had been left of our marriage, of life we built together, was gone. You're going to regret this, I say. Voice steady and deadly calm. Charlotte raises eyebrow. Expression unreadable. Maybe, she says. But at least I won't regret. Taking control of my life, for once. And with that, she grabs her bag, walks out of room, leaving me alone, with wreckage of everything. I thought I knew, but this wasn't over. Not by long shot. Moment door clicks shut behind Charlotte. Primal energy surges through me, drowning out pain in chest and fatigue gripping my body. Her words echo in head, each one sharpening my focus. We just needed you out of way temporarily. This isn't just betrayal anymore. It's war. Reach for phone. Dial Lucas's number. He picks up on second ring. Adam, you good? Need you to find everything you can on Thomas Kane, I say. Voice low but steady. Charlotte just admitted they were behind crash. Don't have all details yet, but they were planning to take me out. Financially, legally, maybe even permanently. Lucas curses under breath. All right, I'm on it. Any specific leads? There's power of attorney document. A fake one. Naming Charlotte as sole decision maker for everything if I'm incapacitated. Start there and dig into Thomas. Work, family, finances. Everything. Consider it done. You still planning to leave hospital today? I'm getting out as soon as I can, I say. Keep me updated. Hang up, my hands trembling. Not with fear, but with sheer adrenaline of knowing finally taking back control. Charlotte thought she'd won, thought she'd walked out of this room victor, but she had no idea what was coming. Discharge takes longer than wanted. Nurse insists on going over every instruction with painstaking detail, but my mind elsewhere, piecing together fragments of Charlotte's lies. By time finally step out of hospital, sun dipping low on horizon, call for ride home, my ribs protesting every step. As climb into car, driver doesn't make small talk. Grateful for that, need silence to plan next moves. When arrive home, house dark and quiet. Charlotte isn't there, but her coat and shoes gone. So no, she won't be back anytime soon. Good. Lock door behind me. Head straight to her office. Charlotte meticulous about keeping space organized. Almost too meticulous. Her desk spotless, files neatly stacked, but not looking for obvious. Pull out drawers one by one, rifling through contents until find folder tucked it back. Inside are printed copies of emails between her and Thomas, some recognized from her laptop. But there's also receipts, hotel stays, expensive dinners, even Range Rover rental that Thomas had booked in his name. Dates line up suspiciously close. Tonight's Charlotte claimed working late. At bottom of folder, handwritten note, scrolled in Charlotte's neat cursive. Timeline for transfer. POA to be notarized by Friday. Financial accounts to be merged by end of month. Thomas to oversee execution. Stare at note. Rage inside, boiling over. Execution. Word feels deliberate. Sinister. Like final nail in coffin they planned for me. Phone buzzes, snapping me out of thoughts. It's Lucas. I found something, he says. Without preamble, Thomas Kane's company is consulting firm, but it's not what it looks like on surface. They specialize in private solutions for high-stakes divorces and business disputes. Basically, they help people screw over their spouses or partners while keeping their hands clean. That explains a lot, I mutter. Wait, it gets worse, Lucas says grimly. Thomas has had legal trouble before, allegations of coercion fraud, even blackmail. Nothing stuck because his clients always vouched for him. Guess who one of those clients was? I don't have to guess. Charlotte. Bingo, Lucas confirms. She hired him last year. Right around time you said things started getting off between you two. Cold realization settles over me. Charlotte hadn't just stumbled into an affair with Thomas. She'd hired him. He was professional, someone she'd brought in to dismantle my life piece by piece. They've been planning this for over a year, I say. Voice barely above whisper. Looks like it, Lucas says. What's your next move? Take deep breath. Beginnings of plan forming in mind. They think I'm still playing defense, I say. But that's about to change. Over next few hours, work methodically, fueled by mixture of rage and determination. Copy documents found in Charlotte's office. Backup emails to secure drive. Every piece of evidence, another weapon in my arsenal. Make calls, first to private investigator, then to my lawyer. Both on board within minutes. Their professionalism barely masking. Their intrigue at unfolding drama. Do nothing until I say, my lawyer advises. If they think you're onto them, they might try to speed things up. That's fine by me. Let them think they have me cornered. Trap I'm setting will snap shut soon enough. By time Charlotte comes home, nearly midnight. She walks in with air of indifference, heels clicking against hardwood floor. You're out of hospital, she says. Tone flat. How are you feeling? Better, I say evenly. Watching her carefully, she lingers by doorway, eyes scanning me for signs of weakness. When doesn't find any? She shrugs, heads upstairs without another word. I stay on couch, mind spinning. Game is shifting, and she doesn't even realize, ground beneath her feet about to collapse. Tomorrow, everything would change. Next morning up early, running on caffeine and determination. Charlotte still asleep when leave house. Her perfect mask of indifference slipping. While she snores softly in bed, we once shared. Grab file of incriminating documents, my laptop and phone, all carefully packed into my bag. Today isn't about sitting idle. Today is about action. Drive to Lucas's rented office space in city, nondescript building. That screams nobody important works here. He greets me with usual smirk, though flicker of concern in his eyes. When see state I'm in? You look like hell, he says, motioning me to sit. Feel worse, I mutter. But I'm not here to rest. Lucas wastes no time. Spreads out information he'd gathered. Thomas's background, Charlotte's digital footprint, few choice tidbits he'd uncovered about their recent activities. Thomas been funneling cash into offshore account, Lucas explains. Pointing to print out of bank transfers. Looks like Charlotte's been making deposits too. Smaller amounts to keep under radar. But it adds up. They're stashing money for next step, I say grimly. Exactly, Lucas confirms. Once they've bled you dry, they'll take off together. Or not. Doesn't matter. You'll be left with nothing. Clenched jaw, feeling weight of their betrayal, settle deeper into chest. But it isn't just anger anymore, it's clarity. They thought they'd planned for everything, but they hadn't planned for me fighting back. Over next several hours, Lucas and I lay groundwork for first stage of counterattack. Started with my lawyer. Send him copies of everything. Every email, every document, every bank transaction Lucas uncovered. We're filing restraining order, my lawyer says. After reviewing material, you'll also want to freeze any joint accounts immediately, once we have court's approval. Can take steps to nullify forged power of attorney. Make it happen, I say. By midday at bank, cutting off Charlotte's access to our accounts. Watching teller's polite but impassive expression. As they deactivate her access, oddly satisfying. One less tool she could use against me. That afternoon set real trap. With Lucas's help, draft email to Charlotte, one that looks like legitimate communication. From my lawyer, carefully worded, just vague enough to suggest I discovered financial discrepancy, but not so explicit as to reveal what I truly know. Email is bait, designed to provoke her into action. Subject: urgent discrepancy, found in financial records. From Adam's lawyer, spoofed for anonymity. To Charlotte Wilson. Charlotte, we have identified irregularity in joint accounts belonging to Adam and yourself. Given sensitive nature of this matter, critical that we speak with you directly. To clarify your involvement, please respond at earliest convenience. Don't send immediately. Instead, wait until sure she'll be distracted. Around 6 p.m., when usually scrolling through Instagram or half watching TV with a glass of wine. When finally hit send, my phone buzzes almost instantly. Lucas had set up Trace on her devices. Within minutes, he confirms she'd opened email on her laptop. She took bait, Lucas says, grinning. What's her next move? I ask. Probably panic, he replies. But if she's smart, she'll call Thomas. He'll be her first line of defense. And lucky for us, that's exactly what we want. Sure enough, Charlotte's behavior shifts almost immediately. Return home that evening, find her pacing living room, phone pressed to ear. I don't know how they found out, she hisses. Not noticing me standing quietly in doorway. Yes, of course I deleted everything. No, Thomas, I'm not coming over right now. It'll look suspicious. She pauses, listening intently, voice lowered, but catch words just stick to plan. Before she hangs up, Charlotte turns and freezes when sees me. Adam, she says, voice tightening with false sweetness. I didn't hear you come in. Busy day? I ask. Tone casual. She shrugs, forcing smile. Just the usual. How was yours? Study her carefully, watching way her hands fidget, tension in her jaw. She's unraveling and doesn't even realize it yet. Productive, I say. Matching her fake tone. You seemed busy on phone just now. Who were you talking to? Her face hardens, but recovers quickly. Olivia, she lies. She's going through something with her boyfriend. Drama, you know how it is. Right, I say. My smile not reaching eyes. I know exactly how it is. Charlotte stiffens, eyes darting toward kitchen. I'm going to grab some wine, she says quickly. Want glass? No thanks, I say. Voice flat. Wait until she disappears into kitchen, before pulling out phone. Lucas's text flashes on screen. Call intercepted. Thomas is panicking. Wants her to meet him tomorrow. Sending details now? Tomorrow. That was when it would all come crashing down. Charlotte and Thomas had underestimated me, for last time. And tomorrow, when she thought she was meeting him in secret, I'd be there to greet them both. With everything I'd prepared, this wasn't revenge anymore. It was justice. Next morning, eerily calm. Kind of quiet that comes before storm. Charlotte already left by time I get up, which isn't surprise. She always leaves early when has something to hide. Lucas had sent me details of her meeting with Thomas. Discreet cafe tucked into corner of city. One of those places where people go when they don't want to be seen. She doesn't know I'm following her. Stay far back. My rented sedan blending into morning traffic. As watch her car weave through streets, my ribs still ache. Every turn sends sharp reminder of crash they'd caused. But grit teeth and keep driving. This isn't just about catching them. It's about ending this once and for all. Cafe smaller than expected. With cozy outdoor patio, shielded by tall hedges. Charlotte parks in lot. Watch as she steps out of car. Her coat pristine. Hair perfectly styled. Looks like heading into business meeting. Not clandestine rendezvous with co-conspirator. Give her a few minutes to settle in. Before stepping out of my car, adrenaline coursing through veins. Dulls pain in my body. As a just hidden camera, Lucas had helped me set up in my jacket. This isn't going to be confrontation. It's going to be performance. Thomas already waiting when Charlotte arrives. They sit at corner table, their heads bent close together. Their voices too low for anyone nearby to overhear. Slip into cafe unnoticed. Order coffee. Take seat few tables away. From my vantage point, can see everything. Tension in Charlotte's posture. Way Thomas's eyes dart around room, like expecting someone to walk in any moment. They're nervous. Good. Activate camera. Pull out phone. Pretending to scroll. As listen to their conversation. Microphone on camera strong enough to pick up their voices. Strain to catch every word. I told you it was too risky, Charlotte hisses. Voice sharp but quiet. Now there's lawyer involved. He's freezing accounts. Thomas leans back, his expression tight. It's only problem if you panic. He doesn't have proof. At least not enough to do anything yet. We stick to timeline. Charlotte's laugh bitter. Stick to timeline? He's already onto us, Thomas. What happens when he digs deeper? Thomas's face darkens. Then we escalate. You knew this wouldn't be easy, Charlotte. If he gets too close, we make sure he doesn't have chance to fight back. My stomach turns. But keep face neutral, hands steady as sip coffee. Escalate. They weren't just planning to ruin me. They were ready to eliminate me. If it came to that, Charlotte leans forward, voice dropping to whisper. And what happens after? If Adam survives this? Thomas cuts her off, his tone cold. He won't. Words send chill down spine. They were done with caution, done with subtlety. If their current plan failed, they were prepared to go further. To make sure I didn't walk away, I'd heard enough. Stand. Taking coffee with me, walk straight to their table. Charlotte looks up first, eyes widening in shock. As I loom over them, Adam, she stammers. What are you? Good morning, I say. Tone icy. Set my coffee cup down on their table. Smile. Nice place for business meeting. Thomas's face twists. Between irritation and alarm. You're supposed to be resting, he says. Trying to sound casual. I'm sure I am, I reply. Pull out phone. But figured I'd stop by. Say hello. You know, since you've both been so concerned about me lately. Charlotte's hands shake slightly as reaches for her coffee. Adam, you're overreacting, she says. Voice trembling. This isn't what it looks like. Oh, it's exactly what it looks like. Leaning in closer. In fact, I've got it all recorded. Every single word. Her face goes pale. Thomas shoots her warning look. You don't know what you're talking about, Thomas says. Voice low and threatening. Really? I say, tilting head. Because I just heard you say that if I get too close, you'll make sure I don't have chance to fight back. Sounds pretty clear to me. Charlotte stands abruptly, knocking over her chair. Adam, you need help. This paranoia is... Paranoia? I interrupt. Voice sharp. Is that what you call this? Pull out printed emails and bank statements. Slap them onto table. These look pretty real to me. Or are they just figments of my imagination? Thomas's mask of calm cracks, jaw tightening as glances at papers. You shouldn't have done this, he says quietly. Voice laced with menace. Oh, I'm just getting started, I shoot back. Cafe has gone silent. Other patrons glancing our way. With curious eyes, Charlotte looks around nervously, face flushed with embarrassment and panic. Adam, she hisses. This isn't the place. No, I say, cutting her off. This is exactly the place. Because I want people to see what you both really are. Liars, manipulators, cowards. Thomas stands, towering over me, his face mask of barely contained rage. You don't know who you're messing with? I smirk. Neither do you. And with that, walk out, leaving them with wreckage of their carefully laid plans and knowledge that this fight was far from over. Walking out of cafe, like stepping out of pressure cooker, weight of Charlotte's lies and Thomas's threats finally lifting. But fight wasn't over. If anything, battle was just beginning. Lucas waiting in parking lot, leaning casually against his car, small smirk playing on lips. As I approach, well, he asks. They took bait, I say. Charlotte panicked, and Thomas practically threatened me. In front of Half Cafe, it's all on tape. Lucas lets out low whistle. They're reckless. That'll work in our favor. Climb into car, wincing as ribs protest. Lucas slides into driver's seat, pulls out of lot, his expression serious now. Now you ready to move to next step? I nod. Let's make them regret every second of this. Back at Lucas's office, piece together, final part of plan. Everything falling into place. The forged power of attorney. The offshore accounts, the recording of their conversation at cafe. Evidence is damning, but we need one last move. To seal their fate. The accounts, Lucas says. Pointing to transaction records. We've got enough to make them sweat. But if we can tie Charlotte to Thomas's fraud network, we'll bury them both. How? I ask. Leaning forward, Lucas grins. By making them think they're still in control. That evening, return home. Find Charlotte already there, sitting on couch with glass of wine. She looks up as enter, expression carefully neutral, but can see cracks. Her eyes dart to my face, searching for clues about how much I know. Long day, she asks. Tone light but forced. You could say that, I reply. Setting my bag down by door, she sips wine, hand steady. I was thinking we should talk about us. Everything's been so tense lately. I raise eyebrow, barely suppressing bitter laugh. Tense? That's one way to put it. Charlotte leans forward, sets wine glass on table. Adam, I don't want to fight. I just want to move past this. Can we do that? Her words carefully chosen, but eyes betray her. She's fishing, testing waters, to see if I'd swallowed her lies, or if I was about to blow her world apart. Maybe, I say. Tone measured. But I need something from you first. Her shoulders stiffen. What do you mean? Thomas, I say bluntly. I want you to cut ties with him. Completely. Charlotte blinks, clearly caught off guard. What? Adam, I hardly even know him. Don't lie to me, I interrupt. Voice sharp. I know exactly what he is to you. If you want to fix this, if you want any chance of saving what's left of us, you'll drop him now. Charlotte's mouth opens and closes, her carefully crafted facade slipping as she scrambles for response. Finally, she nods. Okay, she says quietly. I'll tell him it's over. I don't believe her for a second, but that's not point. Need her to think I'm still on hook, still desperate enough to buy into her act. Next day, Lucas and I put final stage of plan into motion, using transaction records and communication logs we'd uncovered. Lucas sets up fake opportunity for Thomas. Investment account tied to offshore accounts he'd been using to stash stolen money. It's risky, Lucas says. As we finalize details, if Thomas is as paranoid as he seems, he might not take bait. He will, I say. He's too greedy not to. Sure enough, within hours of receiving fake proposal, Thomas moves significant sum into account, unaware that it's trap. Moment money lands, Lucas's contact at bank flags transaction, forwards it to authorities. We don't have to wait long. By evening, Thomas's account's frozen, and investigators circling like vultures. I'm sitting on couch. When Charlotte comes home that night, her face pale and drawn, she doesn't say anything, as sets her purse down, her movements stiff and mechanical. Rough day? I ask. Not bothering to hide amusement in voice, Charlotte glares at me, her composure cracking. What did you do? I lean back, cross arms. What do you mean? Don't play dumb, she snaps. Thomas called me. He said his accounts have been frozen, that someone's been digging into his finances. He thinks it's you. I shrug. Maybe it is. Or maybe he just made too many enemies. Hard to say. Her eyes blaze with fury. But there's something else there too. Fear? For first time she realizes she's not in control anymore. You're going to regret this, she hisses. I stand, step closer until towering over her. No, Charlotte, I say, voice cold and steady. The only thing I regret is not seeing through you sooner. But don't worry, you'll regret everything soon enough. Charlotte stands frozen, eyes locked on me, like trying to decipher what I meant. Moment stretches out, her mask of composure cracking. Under weight of unknown, she's not used to being outmaneuvered. Not by me, not by anyone. You're bluffing, she says finally. But voice wavers, betraying confidence she's trying to project. I lean against doorframe, letting her stew in silence. Am I ask. Tone calm but laced with challenge. Why don't you ask Thomas? Oh wait, you can't. He's probably too busy. Explaining his frozen accounts to authorities? Her lips part in shock, but she quickly recovers. Shaking head. You're insane, she spats. You think you can just what? Ruin everything? For what? Because you can't let go of your pathetic insecurities? Take step closer, voice dropping to deadly calm. This isn't about my insecurities, Charlotte. This is about you and Thomas scheming to destroy me. And guess what? You failed. Her face twists into mask of rage. Do you have any idea what you've done? Done? I say. With smirk. That's exactly what I was going to say to you. Charlotte grabs phone from counter, fingers flying across screen. Can see her desperation. Frantic need to regain control. She's calling Thomas. Know it before she even puts phone to ear. But call doesn't connect. Her expression shifts from anger to confusion. As stares at screen, she tries again and again, before finally letting out frustrated growl. What's wrong, Charlotte? I ask. Feigning concern. Thomas not picking up? Her eyes snap to mine, blazing with fury. What did you do? Let out short laugh. What did I do? Think better question is, what did you do? You hired fraudster to take me down, faked legal documents, siphoned money out of our accounts, and for what? To shack up with Thomas and live off my savings? Charlotte doesn't deny it, instead takes step toward me, voice low and venomous. You don't understand. You never understood. I was suffocating in this marriage. In this life you forced me into. Thomas gave me way out. A way out? I repeat. Voice rising. So you tried to kill me? To erase me? You didn't want way out, Charlotte. You wanted shortcut? She flinches. But defiance in her eyes doesn't waver. You were never going to give me what I wanted, she says bitterly. I had no choice. No choice, I say. Voice dripping with disbelief. You had every choice, Charlotte. You could have walked away. You could have told me truth. Instead, you turned into this monster. Her face twists into sneer. And what about you, Adam? Always working late. Always putting everything else before me. Did you ever stop to think that maybe I deserved more than being footnote in your life? Feel layer of guilt, but quickly snuffed out by mountain of evidence against her. Whatever failings I'd had in our marriage, they didn't justify what she and Thomas had done. You're unbelievable, I say quietly. You actually think you're victim here? Charlotte doesn't respond, chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. Her eyes dart toward door, like calculating escape route. But before she can make move, my phone buzzes. Glance at screen and smile. It's for you, I say. Holding phone out toward her, her brow furrows in confusion. But when she sees name on screen, Detective Harris. Color drains from her face. Charlotte Wilson, I say. Voice steady. Meet consequences of your actions. She doesn't take phone. Instead, backs away. Hands trembling. You wouldn't, she whispers. Wouldn't what? I ask. Taking step closer. Wouldn't hand over everything I found? The emails? The forged documents? The bank transfers? Oh, Charlotte. I already did. Her knees buckle. She sinks into nearest chair, staring at me in disbelief. You're lying, she says. But words come out weak, hollow. Turn phone toward her, letting her see call in progress. Detective's voice echoes faintly through receiver. Mr. Wilson, we're ready to move forward. Is Mrs. Wilson at residence? Charlotte's face crumples as weight of situation finally hits her. She looks up at me, eyes wide with desperation. Adam, please, she whispers. We can fix this. We can... No, I say firmly. You made your choice, Charlotte. And now you're going to face consequences. Her mouth opens to plead again, but before she can say another word, sound of sirens pierces air, growing louder as they approach house. Charlotte's eyes fill with tears, but feel no pity, no remorse. This is justice. For first time in months, feel like can finally breathe. Nightmare is over, or at least will be. As soon as they take her away, sirens stop abruptly outside house. Sharp wail replaced by crunch of boots on gravel. Charlotte's head jerks toward door, as though she could will it to stay closed. Her breaths coming in shallow gasps. Adam, she says, voice barely above whisper. Don't do this. Please? Her tears flowing freely now, streaking carefully crafted mask she always wore. But feel nothing. No pity. No remorse. Just cold satisfaction of knowing truth finally catching up to her. You did this to yourself, I say flatly. Voice devoid of emotion. Knock at door firm. Decisive. Charlotte flinches, as though sound had struck her. See her body tense, like she's about to run. You should probably answer that, I say. Motioning toward door, her eyes snap back to mine, wide and frantic. Adam, please, she begs. This doesn't have to go this far. We can fix it. I'll make it right. I'll tell Thomas to leave. I'll undo everything. Just don't let them take me. You had every chance to fix it, Charlotte, I reply. Voice steady and deadly calm. You didn't care about making it right. When you were siphoning money out of our accounts. You didn't care when you faked legal documents. And you sure as hell didn't care when you and Thomas planned that crash. Her face twists in despair. But before she can respond, knock comes again, louder this time. Charlotte Wilson. This is police. Open the door. Her body sags, as if weight of those words had finally crushed her. With trembling hands, she stands, shuffles toward door, her shoulders slumped in defeat. Door swings open, revealing two uniformed officers, flanking Detective Harris, man in his 40s, with no-nonsense demeanor and sharp, calculating gaze. His eyes flick to Charlotte, then to me, as though sizing up situation in instant. Miss Wilson, Harris says. Tone calm but authoritative. We have warrant for your arrest. Please step outside. Charlotte turns back to me one last time. Expression mix of disbelief and desperation. Adam, she whispers. Voice cracking. You don't understand. I didn't have choice. Neither did I say quietly. Officers move in, their presence unyielding. As they guide Charlotte out of house, She doesn't resist, but can hear her sobbing softly. As they lead her to waiting squad car, Harris stays behind, his gaze shifting back to me. "You've done your part," he says. Voice neutral. "We'll handle it from here." I nod. My throat tight. "What about Thomas?" "He's already in custody," Harris replies. "Evidence you provided was more than enough to warrant arrest. Between bank records, the emails, and recordings, we've got strong case against both of them." "Good," I say, voice barely above whisper. Harris studies me for a moment, his expression softening slightly. "If you need anything, support, resources, don't hesitate to reach out." This kind of betrayal, it's not easy to move past. "Thanks," I say simply. Detective gives me short nod, before following his officers outside, through window. Watch as Charlotte placed in back of squad car, her face pale and streaked with tears. She looks at house one last time, her gaze desperate, pleading. But don't look away. When cars finally pull out of driveway, silence falls over house. Stand in middle of living room, staring at spot where Charlotte had been. Just moments ago, weight of it all hits me like tidal wave. The lies, the manipulation, the crash that nearly killed me. It's over, but doesn't feel like victory. Not yet. Sink onto couch, head in hands, adrenaline draining from body, leaving only exhaustion behind. For so long been fighting, just to survive. To uncover truth? Now that I have, not sure what comes next. Later that night, Lucas calls. "Well?" he asks. "They arrested her," I say. "And Thomas?" "Good," Lucas says. Voice firm. "You deserve this win, Adam. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." I sigh. Running hand through hair. "It doesn't feel like win." "It will," he says. "Give it time. You're free now. No more lies. No more games." "Yeah," I mutter. "Free." Hang up phone. Sit in dark. House eerily quiet. For first time in years. No Charlotte. No tension. No looming sense of betrayal. Just me. As reality of it all settles in, feel faintest flicker. Of something haven't felt in long time. Hope. Don't know what future will hold, but know one thing for certain. This is end of Charlotte's story in my life, and beginning of mine.